If we could have any Eagle Scouts in the room quietly get up and make your way to this back room over here, that would be great.
Good evening. My name is Jojo Black, and I'm Senior Patrol Leader of Troop 500. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this very special Eagle Court of Honor. We will start with the presentation of the colors. Color Guard attention. Audience, please rise. Scout salute. Those not in uniform, please place your right hand over your heart. Color Guard forward march. Color Guard halt. Color Guard cross the colors. Color Guard post the colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Scout signs. Please join me in reciting the Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Please join me in reciting the Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Please join me in reciting the Outdoor Code. As an American, I will do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners, to be careful with fire, to be considerate in the outdoors, and to be conservation-minded. 2. Color Guard, you are dismissed. Audience, you may now be seated. Thank you all for coming. It is my pleasure to introduce our committee chair, Alistair McFarland.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this Eagle Court of Honor for Malcolm Douglas, Tyler Kenny. Wave when I call your name, so okay. Yeah, Malcolm Douglas, Tyler Kenny, Adam Voss, and Cooper Davenport. So on behalf of the Troop 500 Committee, I'd like to thank you for your sustained dedication to Scouting and congratulate you on your achievements. Great job. As everyone knows, the Eagle Scout Award is the highest rank attainable. The requirements are extensive and varied. It's sort of like once you become an Eagle Scout or becoming an Eagle Scout, it's like being an Olympic decathlete, right? You have to be good at everything and you have to put in a lot of effort. Hopefully it was fun, and hopefully you continue doing it. Just to give you an idea of the requirements, they are, I'll list them out. Be active in your troop and patrol, and this is over a long period of time. Demonstrate the Scout spirit by living the Scout oath and law in your everyday life. Earn 21 merit badges, including 14 for Eagle. So for you younger Eagle Scouts, the requirements are a lot harder. So for all these older guys, you have to do more required merit badges. Just remember that. Serve actively as a leader in the troop. Take part in a Scoutmaster Conference. Plan, develop, and lead others in carrying out a service project worthy of an Eagle Scout. And then finally, appear before a board of review and satisfy them that you've done your best to understand and live up to the Scout Oath and law, and in all ways qualify for the Eagle Scout Award. Now, if all of those requirements don't seem like enough, there's another hurdle, and that's paperwork. Now, it has nothing to do with scouting, but it's still something that you have to do to get the award. It has to be approved by the troop, the district, the council, and then finally the national headquarters, because the Eagle Scout Award that you are receiving is the same Eagle Scout Award that somebody is getting in California or any part of the United States, and has the same standards over time. So congratulations on doing that. and keeping track of all of your activities and your career. And also, I commend you on having this joint ceremony, on showing loyalty to one another and deciding and choosing to celebrate your scouting achievements together. So let's get on with that celebration. I'll invite to the stage our MC, Daniel McFarland.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Daniel McFarland, and again, thank you guys for coming to this court of honor. Firstly, I'd like to introduce the Dr. Reverend Kevin Van Diver, Senior Pastor at the Church of the Reformation, who will lead us in our invocation. Thank you very much.
Let us pray. God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as family, friends, leaders, and fellow scouts on this significant day in the life of Adam, Cooper, Malcolm, and Tyler. Today is a celebration of a journey full of challenges, friendship, struggles, and occasionally a little fun. Today we think of all the merit badges earned along the way, the oaths committed to, the character these young men developed, and the service to our community these have worked so hard to bring about. Little by little, month by month, and year by year, they were faithful, and we celebrate their faith, commitment, and hard work. So we ask for your blessing on Adam, Cooper, Malcolm, and Tyler, and their families who supported and encouraged them, and their fellow scouts who helped them along the way. Bless the scout leaders, Troop 500, and all those who are here physically or in spirit. Continue to walk with them as they take these next steps in becoming the scouts and the people you desire them to be. Amen.
Thank you again. The presentation of the Eagle Scout Badge is an important and serious event, the climax and the goal for which a scout works many years. An occasion for pride and joy, a time for serious contemplation. It is the culmination of the efforts of the various leaders of these scouts. The Eagle Scout Award is the highest and most coveted rank in scouting, the last major step in the advancement program. Fewer than 4% of all scouts in the United States reach the Eagle Scout rank. To earn the highest rank of scouting, scouts must spend a great deal on time and effort. Therefore, the occasion recognizing their accomplishments should be memorable. Tonight, we follow light the Eagle Trail as we recognize the accomplishments of Malcolm, Tyler, Adam, and Cooper. When a young person becomes a scout, there is within them something that we call the spirit of scouting. This single lighted candle before you represents that spirit. Because the spirit of scouting embodies the principles of the Scout Oath and law, it becomes a shining beacon of inspiration. Alone, this light may seem feeble, but when multiplied by the more than 3.5 million young people in scouting around the world, it is powerful indeed. After a person enters scouting, the scout law that they promise to obey begins to guide their life. At this time, I would like to invite some of our Troop 500 scouts to the stage. We will begin our journey at the scout rank.
I am a scout. I have learned about the Scout Oath, Scout Law, Outdoor Code, and Scout Motto. I have learned about basic knots and about pocket knife safety. I have learned about the Scout spirit.
I am a tenderfoot scout. I have showed my scout spirit. I have camped with my patrol in a tent which I helped pitch. I showed improvement in physical tests. I demonstrated basic first aid skills.
I am a second class scout. I have used a map and a compass to navigate. I have demonstrated swimming abilities, first aid skills, and knowledge of nature. I've showed scout spirit by participating in service projects.
I am a first class scout. I have learned to cook for my patrol. I have discussed the rights and obligations of a citizen. I have expanded an understanding of nature, first aid skills, and safety knowledge. I have built structures using knots and lashings. I have showed scout spirit.
I am a Star Scout. I have showed Scout spirit. I have earned 6 merit badges, including 4 from the Eagle Required. I did at least 6 hours of service projects, and I have served in the last 4 months in troop leadership positions.
I'm a Life Scout. I've showed Scout spirit. I've earned 5 more merit badges to have at least 11 and a total of 7 from the required Eagle list. I have at least 6 hours of service projects. I've served at least 6 months in troop leadership positions.
I am an Eagle Scout. I have shown and demonstrated Scout spirit. I have also earned 21 merit badges, including 14 required for Eagle. I have planned, led an Eagle Scout service project. Finally, I sat for an Eagle Board of Review that consisted representatives from the district, Troop 500 committee, and members of our community.
Thank you, Scouts. You may return to your seats. Next, I'd like to welcome to the stage Troop 500's Advancement Chairperson and so much more, Alex Alonso.
So I'm here on behalf of the Washington, D.C. District of the National Capital Area Council, which, as Alistair said, is responsible for certifying that our scouts here, our scout candidates, are qualified to receive the rank that we're all going to witness today. So careful examination has been made by the National Capital Area Council as to the qualifications of these applicants for the Eagle Scout Award. Proficiency in various crafts and skills prescribed for Eagle Scout rank has been checked, and the records of merit badges earned by the Scouts have been approved and certified by the counselors appointed by the Boy Scouts of America. Scout candidates Adam, Cooper, Malcolm, and Tyler have demonstrated their capacity and willingness to exert leadership in activities that are constructive and worthwhile in this community. The record has been checked in troop leadership, school affairs, and in other fields of work and service. They have demonstrated loyalty and duty to God and duty to country. We believe that they are qualified to receive the rank of Eagle Scout.
This is the very exciting part that I know you guys have been looking forward to, and we are just honored and privileged. I am Allison Black, one of the Scoutmasters for Troop 500.
Now I'm Brian Durlam, one of the Scoutmasters for Troop 500. Tonight, the ceremony that you've witnessed so far and that what you're about to see is that we will call up our Eagle Scout Eagle Scouts one at a time. They will be awarded so you know what's happening, because a lot of things are going to happen right up here. We want you to know what's happening. We're going to call them up one at a time, and we'll call up their families. And then we will give each of the Eagles a pin for them to give to their parents, and the Eagle can give one of the pins to their mother.
And then there'll be an Eagle medal that we'll give to the mother to pin on their scout. And then each scout will also have some pins for their mentors that they will give at that time. They'll also say some remarks to their parents, and then they'll have a few minutes to talk to the audience. So we're going to do that for each of them. But just wanted to let you guys know what was going on. And again, we are thrilled to be here.
After the exchange of pins, the parents will take their seats, and each Eagle Scout will have a chance to make a few comments. Sound good?
All right, we'll get started.
Okay. Drum roll. Yeah. I'd like to call up Eagle candidate Malcolm Douglas and his parents, Diane and Scott Douglas. Malcolm, you are congratulated for reaching the highest peak of the Eagle Trail. Your diligence and hard work have paid off. If you, along with your mother and father, will come forward, which you're here, your Eagle Badge rank will be presented. You have made Troop 500 very proud. May the qualities that inspired you to this achievement continue to lead you onto even greater success in life. The traditions of Eagle Scout are high. May you live up to those traditions, always guided by the spirit of scouting, represented by these blazing candles before you. The Eagle Badge that you are about to receive is symbolic of the spirit of scouting. We now proclaim to all the world your accomplishments. The symbol of your success is the Eagle Scout Badge, which is now presented to you from your parents.
Yeah. And Malcolm can now say a few things about his parents, and then he can present his mentor pins.
I have a couple things to say. I wrote them down on my phone. I'm trying to be brief, real quick. And for all my mentors, when I call you out, I'd love if you could walk up here and I could give you the pin. First, I'd like to thank my family, friends, scouts, and scout leaders who are here with me tonight for our joint Eagle Scout Court of Honor. This has been a long, windy road for all four of us, and we wouldn't be here without your support. I just want to take a moment to reflect upon my fondest memories as a scout. When I was thinking of stories or lessons that I've learned over the last 7 years, it was hard to settle upon one. There are just so many, from waking up early to the sound of crashing waves on our yearly beach campout, spending my days hiking along the trails of Summit Bechtel Reserve in West Virginia, and enjoying my evenings at a bonfire with some of my closest friends at Goshen Scout Camp. My time in Scouts has provided me with outdoor experiences that most people never get the opportunity to do in their lives. And I'm so grateful of my time in Scouts, developing my leadership skills, my outdoor knowledge, and enriching a large part of my development. Before I mention my mentors, I'd like to thank all of my past Scout leaders for enabling me to reach my goals in Scouting, which for my entire time in Scouts has been the rank of Eagle. I'd like to name a few names: Alex Alonso, Barry Brown, Brian Dearlum, Jeff Trinka, Joe Nelson, Jonathan Sessions, Drew Boucher, Ted Brady, Mike Shoag, so many more. I have to thank my parents, Scott and Diane Douglas, who have driven me to campouts, helped me pack for them, and have always managed to give me a fresh plate of food right about like 20 minutes before each meeting, which has been super helpful. And now I'm going to get started with my mentors. My first mentor is Alistair McFarland. He spoke to you tonight. I'd love it if you could come up here, Alistair. I first met Alistair as a parent. He was a parent at Morey Elementary School, and I watched him after school as he met with all of the other Cub Scouts. Now, I was not a Cub Scout, but he led a group of kids that went to my elementary school. And I was always like, wow, that's super cool. I want to do that one day. And here I am. I joined Troop 500 where his sons were, and I've been grateful ever since. And after I've joined Scouts, you've helped me push through a number of great challenges as a young leader within the troop. You've helped me develop my skills in leadership as a young patrol leader who had to deal with a lot of older Scouts and organizing them. And I've been lucky enough to have gone with many trips with you. And I can't thank you enough for all of your support throughout my journey. Thank you for all your help, and I want to give you a pin for that. All right, I'm going to do this really quick. Getting the hang of it. All right. Thanks, Allison. All right, left hand. All right, my second mentor is Allison Black. Yeah. Allison is someone who I met a few years ago, and this was a few years into my time as a Scout. During my time as a den chief, when I worked with her daughter, JoJo, in her Weeblo 2 unit. And I did this for a couple months, and I was, after a few months, the pandemic hit. It was 2020, and our monthly campouts were kind of cut in half. We couldn't really go out and do them as we do every month, and that really put a halt to our time in Scouts. And yet, I was pleased to learn in that time where we were regrouping, trying to figure out what to do, that Allison would be joining Troop 500 as a Scoutmaster. And right during this time, I was elected Senior Patrol Leader, which is the leading position within the troop. And so as Senior Patrol Leader, I would be working with her very closely throughout the next year to organize meetings, plan campouts, and figure out what to do during the pandemic. Over our first year together leading the troop, your support with me throughout my journey has enabled me to grow a great deal as a leader, even when I could only meet with you online or have to give you a call to get an email sent out to everybody to send out the weekly Zoom link. But even when I could only meet with you in that circumstance, you stuck with me over these past few years, and I'm so glad that I've been able to learn as much as I have about myself and about other people in this time. So thank you, Allison. Thank you. Wait, shake my hand. There we go. All right. Alrighty. This last one is my last mentor is someone who's very, very special to me. Sam Douglas, my grandpa. And although none of you know the man who's getting ready to stand up and come up here, my grandpa's been a really big part of my time in Scouts. From first teaching me how to unhook a fish from a very young age, or always being there to brief you on my latest adventures in the outdoors. Your commitment to teaching me outdoor skills and your love has encouraged me to stick it through with Scouts, even when I wanted to walk away from it. So thanks again for everything, and I'd like to give you this pin. Yeah, sorry. I hopefully I didn't take too much time. I'd like to thank you all again for coming out. And if you look in the pamphlet, you'll get to read a little bit about my project. It was pretty awesome, but I didn't want to take too much time to talk about it. But thanks again from the bottom of my heart for all of you for coming out to support me and all these other fine young gentlemen. And I'd like to thank you all for being a big part of my journey in Scouts.
All right, and next we would like to invite up Tyler Kenny and his parents, Kelly and Rick Kenny. So Eagle candidate Tyler Kenny, you are to be congratulated for reaching the highest peak of the Eagle Trail. Your diligence and hard work have paid off. You all are up here. That's great. You have made Troop 500 very proud. May the qualities that inspired you to this achievement continue to lead you on to ever greater success in your life. The traditions of Eagle Scout are high. May you live up to those traditions, always guided by the spirit of scouting, represented by these blazing candles before you. The Eagle badge that you are about to receive is symbolic of this spirit of scouting. We now proclaim to all the world your accomplishments. The symbol of your success is the Eagle Scout badge, which now will be presented by your parents. So Tyler, now in recognition of the wisdom and guidance given to you by your parents, please present to them these Eagle Parent Pins, which they will be proud to wear in your honor. And now we will turn it over to you to say a few words and hand out your mentor pins.
I, I must first thank all my family, friends, fellow scouts, and leaders for joining me on this special occasion. It's been a long road of many years, and without your support, I would not be here this evening. I first want to give a huge thank to my parents for introducing me to Cub Scouts, not necessarily knowing what Scouts were when I first walked in the door. I soon came to realize that actively participating in meeting and activities was fun. Along my Scout journey, I was able to meet new friends and be surrounded by generous adults who have always given their best effort to make our meetings fun. My road of Eagle reminds me of a quote, "Never easy, always worth it." I have learned so much through my path, how to fish, proper use of a knife, and love the outdoors, and especially the water. One of my most fondest memories, is spending a week on a sailboat in the Keys to Sea Base. These were all fun parts of scouting. The important qualities I have learned through the journey, which include how to lead and how to persevere. Every time I thought about quitting, I was reminded that I would be joining an elite group of hardworking and giving people. Getting through my project taught me the most about what it means to be an Eagle. I had to figure out how to lead a team of peers and adults and how to pivot when it wasn't going according to plans. The project took months to prepare, and it was incredibly rewarding because I knew giving back to something back in my community. I am incredibly grateful for this journey and what it has taught me about myself and all the things I've learned in the process. Next up, I want to call out 3 mentors that have helped me on this journey. And if you could come up on stage when I call you, I can give you your pins. First is Mr. Voss. Mr. Voss has always been a contributor. Contributed to my success and fun in Cub Scouts, to Christmas tree sales, to pumpkin sales, and to Pinewood Derby workshops. For years, he was my den leader, and Mr. Voss taught me how to love fishing, and he helped me build my first Pinewood Derby car. Second is Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown has always been involved in my scouting experience. He drove the pack or troop out to camping destination and would always participate in scouts to make sure everyone else was enjoying their time. He's been a huge supporter in my path to Eagle. And lastly, Mr. Brady. Mr. Brady, oh, no. Mr. Brady has always and will always be someone I can vent to about anything. Not only has he supported me on this journey, but he's offered encouragement in my activities outside of Scouts as well. He has helped me tremendously along my journey to Eagle by always being down to meet up for blue cards, my Eagle project, or have a conversation about life. I've appreciated every moment with you greatly.
They really need to make these easier to pen off. Yeah.
Congratulations. Moving along, we'd like to call up Adam Voss and his parents, Dell and Shari Voss. Adam, you are to be congratulated for reaching the highest peak of the Eagle Trail. Your diligence and hard work have paid off. You, along with your mother and father, have joined you here on the stage. We will now present you with your badge and your rank. You have made Troop 500, again, very proud. May the qualities that inspired you to this achievement continue to lead you on to even greater success in life. The traditions of Eagle Scout are high. May you live up to those traditions, always guided by the spirit of scouting, represented by these candles before you. The Eagle Scout badge that you are receiving is symbolic of the spirit of scouting. We now proclaim to all the world your accomplishments. The symbol of your success is the Eagle Scout badge, which is now being presented to you by your parents and your Eagle Scout rank award. We'll present you with your mentor pins if you'd like to make any comments.
Before I present my mentor pins, I'd like to say a few words about scouting and what it's meant to me. But first, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out and showing support. It's much appreciated. So scouting has meant many different things to me. As a Cub Scout, it was all about making new friends, fun at the camping trips, the Pinewood Derby. In the first 2 years of Boy Scouts, it was about learning, craftsman, outdoorsmanship, teamwork, being resourceful. And in my later years of scouting, it was focused on leadership, mentoring, and just being a person that the younger scouts can look up to. Of all these things, I think the most important skill I've learned from scouting is leadership. And one thing I learned is that leadership could take on many different forms. During my trip to Philmont, my expectations of leadership changed very, very greatly. While I had my fair share of, normal leadership, like cooking or being the navigator, there's other significant moments that I found that, or significant moments of leadership that I witnessed and took part in, which were the small, seemingly insignificant actions. Carrying extra weight, like in a bag, someone can't carry as much weight, put it in your bag. Someone's carrying too much water, you can take some of that water off their back. Someone has a sprained ankle, make sure, they don't have so much weight on them. Or just making sure that everyone has enough food and water. Those small little actions were I think, very important in Every small example of leadership shown on the trip was undoubtedly indispensable to the group's overall success. Every person must step up to fulfill their own leadership roles, both big and small. In our troop, there are so many outstanding examples of leadership, both from the scouts and adults. Along my scouting journey, I have been helped in so many different ways by so many different people, and I wouldn't be here today without those leaders who have sometimes pushed me, prodded me, but have always stood by my side and cheered me on. So before I do the mentor pins, I'm gonna say a few things about my parents. My mom has always pushed me and prodded me, but again, always stayed by my side and cheered me on to do this, even when the times when I thought maybe I couldn't do it or I wanted to give up. My dad has done the same, if not harder. He's been pushing me to do this, and the skills he's taught me on the many camping trips he's been on and the knowledge he's handed down has been just very, very important to me. So for my first mentor pin, I'd like to call to the stage Mr. Brady. Mr. Brady has been one of the most influential people in my scouting career and possibly my life. Mr. Brady has always been there for me. He's always been just someone I can talk to, have a conversation with, like Tyler said about basically anything, life. I fondly remember our Scoutmaster conferences where we'd have long chats about just very meaningful things, and it was just a very meaningful time. And he's also been one of the most influential people in shaping who I am and who I want to be in the future. And his influence has actually pushed me in a path towards architecture, which is something I would like to do going forward. A lot of pins. Thank you. My second pin, before my second pin, I'd like to call to the stage Joe Nelson. Mr. Nelson has been instrumental in helping me push through those final steps of Eagle, helping with the paperwork, helping me with my project, helping plan and just do everything behind the scenes. He spent countless hours, bending over backwards to just make sure everything goes smoothly. And, he's been a very big influence on these last final years as I worked on my Eagle project and my Eagle rank. And for my final pin, I'd like to call to the stage Mike Ryan. I really got to know Mr. Ryan when I was working on my Eagle project, and he bent over backwards to help me with the construction of my box and the carpentry skills needed for that. He let me use his shop and all the tools in it and helped me with just planning and designing and building, and I don't think I could have done it without him. So, thank you.
All right, and now we would like to call up our Eagle candidate, Cooper Davenport, to the stage, and his parents, Jen Van Meter and Mark Davenport. So Cooper, you have made Troop 500 very proud. You have completed almost all of your requirements. He's waiting for that board of review, but we are very proud of what you have done and what you have accomplished. All of the requirements, your fantastic project. And we wanted to celebrate today everything you have done, and we look forward to presenting the badge and the pin to you in the near future. but wanted to recognize you today, of course, in this setting and give you a chance to say something to your parents and everybody, the audience as well. So congratulations.
I know everybody's dying to get to the buffet up downstairs, so I'll be quick with my speech. Malcolm opened us up with some beautiful prose. I'll give us some stern concision. Let me pull out my phone. I'd first like to start off by talking about what scouting has meant to me. Without scouting, I don't think I'd have even half the appreciation for service that I do, or the perspective on leadership, or greater than all of that, an appreciation for what it means to be a part of a community and contribute to a community. Scouting has given me tools that I think, regardless of what career any scout chooses, are applicable. But for me, I think will apply tenfold. I want to be a teacher, and I think scouting has given me the tools necessary to be a patient leader, to be intentional with my actions, and to approach people from where they come from instead of where I'm coming from. Next, I'd like to thank my mentors. Because I'm still an Eagle candidate, I don't have any pins, so it's all right, guys. You can stay sitting. But I'd first like to thank Mr. Joe Nelson. Mr. Nelson, we can clap. Mr. Nelson, I think, has believed in me more than I have for my Eagle, for the whole entire Eagle process. He stuck with me on my lengthy procrastination, the reason I'm still an Eagle candidate. And I'd just like to thank him so much for that, because I do not think I would have gotten it if it was not solely for him continuing to push me. So thank you, Mr. Nelson. The next person I'd like to thank is Mr. Brady. A lot of people have thanked him today, obviously because he's had an incredible impact on, I think, every single person in the scout troop. Mr. Brady was the scoutmaster for the entire time that I served as assistant patrol leader, and my 2 terms as senior patrol leader. And a large part of all of those positions is talking and planning out meetings with the PLC. Mr. Brady has an unparalleled patience for letting me fail, and that is much to my benefit. Letting me fail and also guiding me to my successes. So for all of the great advice that you've given me over the years, the endless patience you've had for me, and the million ways that you have shaped me into the man I am today, thank you so much, Mr. Brady. I know I promised I'd be concise, but for this last one, you guys will have to stick with me just a little bit. The last person I want to thank is Mr. Alistair McFarland. We know a class. We need a class. He deserves it. I've been in scouting since I was 6 years old. And when I first joined, it was with Cub Scout Pack 380 at Maury. And Mr. McFarland single-handedly led that troop. Without his leadership, I do not think there would have been any scouting going on at Maury Elementary. And without his leadership, I don't think I ever would have gone on to join Boy Scouts. After Cub Scouts, I took a year off of scouting. And I was really considering, do I continue pursuing scouting? And I talked to Mr. McFarland about it. And he pushed me to continue, see what it was about, and to rejoin Scouts through Troop 500. So legitimately, if it was not for him, I would not be here today. He has pushed me to continue. And I have a somewhat lengthy story that I'll tell that I think really embodies it. So anybody who's done scouting or has heard of scouting knows that Philmont is the gold standard for Scout High Adventures. And the gold standard of that high adventure is climbing Mount Baldy. Throughout your entire trip at Philmont, it's impossible not to see Mount Baldy. At the top of every hill, the bottom of every valley, you can see Mount Baldy in the distance. And it's something that your trip builds towards. it holds great literal significance because it marks the end of your trip, and figurative significance because you reach the top of the mountain. I am very afraid of heights, very afraid of heights. And I was not fully prepared to climb that mountain. Mr. McFarland, the entire way up, both on the ascent, where I lagged behind everybody by probably 100 feet, and on the descent, where I lagged behind by much more than that. Mr. McFarland stood by my side and continued walking with me. And when we got to the bottom, he was still in step with me. So in both literal and a figurative sense, Mr. McFarland, you've been with me every step of the way, and I cannot thank you enough for that. And that's my speech. Let's go eat soon. All right, cool.
All right, so next, and we'll call up, there's some remarks by Joe Nelson and Ted Brady. So we'll turn the stage over to them.
Ted and I have been asked to make some remarks about mentorship and also about these scouts. And Ted can go last because he'll have better stories than I do. But if you don't know me, I'm Joe Nelson. My role here is the Life to Eagle coach for 500. And in this role, I've had to work with these 4 scouts. And I've been lucky to be on your final steps on your trail to Eagle. It's part of the final process, as they've talked about. They've had to plan, give leadership to a service project to help any religious institution or any school in their community. The service project is a lengthy process, which the scouts take great care in choosing the project that meets not only requirements, but also it's meaningful to them and the community that they serve. Through countless hours of meetings and emails and Zooms, and their meetings with Scoutmasters, the troop committee, and district level reviews, these scouts came up with and planned and executed projects that the community and Troop 500 are very proud of. Tyler's rehab of the dog pond and Congressional Cemetery has supplied many hours of play for our neighbors' pets and has beautified our beloved portion of this neighborhood. Malcolm's dental hygiene project offered service to those less fortunate in this community who not only needed food assistance, shelter, and clothing, but also drew attention to the sometimes overlooked means of taking care of their health. Adam's Blessing Box, that can be seen just outside the doors here, offers easy way for those in need to supplement their food resources and gives back to this church community that he and his family has served for many years. And Cooper's restoration of the school courtyard garden brightened up his school and provides a place of study and inspiration for the current and future students. The Eagle process and all the volunteer hours that they have been required throughout their time in BSA, these scouts have shown their leadership and a spirit of giving back to community, which Eagles they are now tasked to continue for the rest of their lives. The tokens of appreciation that you've given to me, Mr. Brady, and others here are a great way to recognize us, but the best gift that you can give to mentors is to become one yourselves. And I'll turn it over.
You know it's a dangerous thing to give me a microphone. And so Allison and Brian, how long do I have? I'll try to be brief, although the subject matter here is easily lengthy and deep at best. So I think I met all of these guys when they were 7 years old, which, except for Malcolm. I think, Malcolm, you and I met when you were maybe 10, I think, or 11. But that's a long time to watch 4 small kids become really remarkable young men. And there are things that you probably know about them, and then there are things that you don't know about them that I get to share with you now. So, sorry, guys. I'll start with Adam. I mean, I can remember Adam in Cub Scouts who was about this tall, but very quickly he became taller than almost anybody in his den. And the one attribute that Adam has that has run through his scouting experience is strength. He is obviously physically strong, but he's also emotionally and intellectually and spiritually strong. I once saw him go and pick up a Christmas tree at the Christmas tree sale with a Cub Scout dangling off of either end and hoist it onto a car to tie it down. But when you spend time speaking with Adam about what it means to be trustworthy or loyal or helpful or friendly or brave, he has a very distinct idea about these things that is unique to himself. And I have seen him help younger scouts. I have seen him help his peers, his fellow scouts, and he has never once turned down when he was asked to lead. And Adam, you are phenomenal. And I have really enjoyed our conversations about architecture. He's an artist who works in all kinds of electronic design programs in the computer. He draws like a wicked drawer. He's a fantastic drawer. And I'm so pleased to hear that you're sticking with that as a pursuit. And I can't wait to see where you end up with that. I know it's going to be great. So I'm so proud of you. Cooper, I don't know if you even remember this. We met, you were, I think, 8 years old, maybe only 7. But we met when you fell out of a tree in Lincoln Park. There was sort of a neighborhood pizza thing going on in the park, and several of us were over eating pizza and talking, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a kid come out of the tree. And my son was one of the kids hanging around over there, and so I ran over to see what was going on, and the other 2 kids were picking Cooper up, and they all ran off. And I said, "Hey, Cooper, are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah, why?" Which is kind of Cooper. There is nothing that this guy sees as a challenge. It is only an opportunity to have fun, an opportunity to lead, an opportunity to succeed in his life. He was the senior patrol leader in the winter of 2021, and in March, the committee one night during a meeting called me in and said, "Hey, we think schools are closing for a couple of weeks. We should probably stand down from our meetings, and follow suit." And I said, "Well, let me go ask the guys." And I went to Cooper, and he pulled his PLC together, and I said, "Cooper," I said, "the schools are probably going to close, and we should come up with a plan B. Should we stand down for a couple of weeks and then reconvene once things reopen, or what do you want to do?" And Cooper looked at me and said, "Mr. B, I got this, no problem." And within 10 minutes, we had a whole schedule of Zoom meetings, which I had no idea what Zoom was back then, and we had a Discord list for texting and communication with everyone. And 2 days later, we were meeting with the PLC over Zoom and planning out virtual meetings for the next couple of weeks. And because of his leadership, this troop went from meeting weekly to meeting virtually without even skipping a beat. While there were troops all over the district that were standing down, and some of them really suffered during the pandemic, and some of them actually folded. But Troop 500 didn't, and it was because of that initial thing. That's the kind of creativity that he has, it's the kind of leadership that he has, and it's the kind of out-of-the-box thinking that he has. And I know as a teacher, you're going to be inspiring, and you're going to be terrific. And I cannot wait to see where you end up, Yeah, clap for Cooper. Cooper spent, as he mentioned, he spent 2 terms as senior patrol leader. Directly after him, Malcolm was elected in that spring as the senior patrol leader. And what that meant was we were all getting ready to go to Philmont, or again, so we thought, for the second time. And Philmont ended up closing because of the pandemic. And suddenly, we had to vamp as a troop and figure out where to go and what to do, or if we were going to go and do. And Summit had space available for us. And so the troop pivoted, and in a matter of weeks, we ended up going to Summit. And Malcolm was a novice out of the box senior patrol leader who I don't even think you had run a meeting yet. And suddenly, in the middle of the pandemic, we end up at a high adventure in the middle of West Virginia with a bunch of guys that didn't know if they should be wearing masks or what they should be doing. And Malcolm stood up and he said, okay, guys, here's what we're doing. We're all going to wear masks. We're all going to do these things. We're going to look out for each other. Here's our hand washing stuff. Here's how we're doing it. And he took off and led like you wouldn't believe. Every night he led a Roses and Thorns with the guys and a debrief. And some of those conversations were some of the most memorable I've ever had in scouting, quite frankly. It was a phenomenal introduction into, and a challenging introduction into being the leader of the troop. He led the troop as senior patrol leader for 2 terms after that, throughout the rest of the pandemic. This guy led us from those virtual meetings. He then said in the fall, we just did this at Summit. I think we can figure it out. I know we can do this. We'll meet in the park. We'll do this and this and this, and this is how we're going to do it. And because of his leadership, he led us out of the virtual world of the pandemic that we were all suffering from. And suddenly we had face-to-face meetings in the park. And it was just, it was incredible. It was incredible. And again, there were troops all over the district that were folding, that were not meeting, that were beginning to lose traction with their membership. And because of what you did with that, you kept us going. You kept the whole troop going, and that was incredible. I'm so happy he's not going to that school in North Carolina, appropriately mascoted the Devils. He's made a good choice, and he's going to the University of North Carolina, and I know he'll be a leader on that campus like he has been in our troop, and I know that he's going to end up doing great things in his life. So, couldn't be proud of you, Malcolm. And then Ty, I mean, this guy, let me tell you, there's nothing that this guy has ever done in athletics that he hasn't been successful with. He's a remarkably gifted athlete. He's a natural athlete, and he's an intense competitor. Not for the sake of only winning, but because he really, truly is passionate about competing. And I remember in middle school, when he was in middle school, he and my son Grayson played on one of the Parks Department's intramural basketball teams. It was a developmental team. And you know, they saw Grayson come in, who at that time was already over 6 feet, and they were like, oh, this. And then they saw Ty coming. And Ty, who was diminutive, shall we say, in 6th and 7th grade, he got on that team. And I remember the coach kind of saying, okay, well, here, Ty, you know, you learn to dribble, and you learn to do all these other things. What he didn't know is Ty had been going out at night in his backyard and shooting free throws, one after another, to the point where the kid has a three-point shot from any place on the court. It is remarkable. And so he would have these big guys hanging over him, and he would use his size and his speed, and he would get out from under them, and he'd squeeze off a shot. And 9 times out of 10, it would go in. It was just phenomenal to watch. But the one thing I remember is there was a game that was a really hard-fought game, and it was really, really close. And at the very last second, at the buzzer, Ty and his team lost. And Ty was so passionate about it. He was so upset that they had lost. And I can remember his mom, actually, in the stands. I was sitting in front of you guys, and I overheard the conversation. And she said, you know what, Ty? You played your heart out. You left everything out there, and that's what counts. And that's the kind of guy that Ty is. And he continued to do that in cross country and track. He literally became one of the fastest guys in D.C. He's nudging Malcolm because Malcolm is too, and they were constantly at odds together and against each other in cross country matches. But Ty is if you first meet him, you think that he's quiet. I can assure you, he is not quiet. He is only feigns to be quiet in public, but he has got a terrific personality, and he's got a terrific work ethic and discipline and all the things that you'll ever need to be successful. And I can't wait to see what you do next, because I know it's going to be incredible. Congratulations. So, and I'll close by saying these 4 guys have been incredible leaders in our troop. They have done amazing things with our troop. They have lived a life as examples to others. There are siblings that you have, younger siblings that look up to you. Well, they may not look up to you, but they do look up to you, that are here, and you've been great examples to them. You've been great examples to our greater community, and what a community we have. There's some of them sitting over here. I see these guys that I got to spend a lot of time with, and it is a phenomenal experience to be a scout leader. So if anybody is on the fence out there and thinking, maybe I'll be a scout leader, maybe I won't, try it out, because it's probably the most rewarding job you'll ever had, because of guys like this, because of guys like these guys sitting over here. So thank you.
Next, I'd like to welcome up Alex Alonso, the District Vice Chair for Advancement, for the Washington, D.C. District presentation.
All right, well, Cooper has asked that the adults be brief, and I'm going to take that to heart and see what I can do to speed this up a little bit. But the Washington, D.C. District is very proud of all of its Eagle Scouts. Aaron and I happen to have a connection to Troop 500, so we're particularly glad to be doing this presentation today. But the Washington, I'm joined by Aaron Mars, the Washington, D.C. District Chairman. I have him up here not only because he's my boss on the district committee, but because of his connection to Troop 500. And he's going to help me out to get this going a little quicker. So all three of you, or all four of you, could come up along with Will Smith and Fred Robb. So what this is that we're about to hand out, let me see if So what each of these Eagle Scouts will be receiving is a plaque from the Washington, D.C. District. This is a custom patch that indicates them as being an Eagle Scout. A lot of people really like this patch because it's so unique. It is actually the District of Columbia. And the backing to this, the actual plaque itself, the whole thing's handmade. But the backing was contributed by our own chartered organization representative, Mike Ryan. Not only these that you're seeing today, but for the entire District of Columbia, he has provided them. And not just cut them up, right? He sanded them down, and they're beveled. They look great. So we hope that you find a place on your wall for these. And they do indicate the date that that each of these Eagle Scouts achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. As we heard from Alistair, the last step to become an Eagle Scout is the border review. You walk in as a Life Scout, and all things going well, you walk out as an Eagle Scout. So for Tyler, that happened on January 9th of this year, and I'm happy to give you your plaque. So Malcolm Douglas became an Eagle Scout on November 7th of last year, and we're obviously celebrating that today. Adam Voss, relatively recently on April 24th, completed his border review and became an Eagle Scout. And I'm very happy to have him standing next to me. So Will Smith, we celebrated his Court of Honor last year, but unfortunately these handmade plaques weren't available at the time. So nonetheless, he remains an Eagle Scout for life, and we want to recognize him. Fred Robb also had his Eagle Court of Honor with Will, and he became an Eagle last year on May 20th before going off to college. It's really great to have him back here to celebrate the other Eagle Scouts. So I did want to take a moment to reiterate what Ted said, just looking at it from the district level, how great this troop is. And I'm talking not just to the gentleman on the stage here, but to the other scouts that are here today. Know that this is a preeminent troop in the District of Columbia, and a lot of that has to do with what Ted mentioned, which is Malcolm and Cooper keeping us going during the pandemic. There definitely were troops that got a lot smaller. There were packs that got a lot smaller, which means there were less feeders into the troops, and units that completely folded. And for the scouters, lifelong scouters in this room and know about scouting, to lose even part of a generation of scouts is really a hard thing to do. And the credit goes to Malcolm and Cooper, boy led, to keep this troop going, and that we see many of the scouts sitting on the right side here benefiting from the troop maintaining. So the last thing I'm going to say before I hand it off to Scott Douglas for the Eagle's Nest, Scott is actually going to do the formal Eagle charge, but I have a very specific charge for two of our scouts up here. Part of the charge you're going to hear from Scott is that as Eagle Scouts, you continue to be responsible for leadership and development of other scouts and other people in your community. I'm going to get even more specific than that, and I'm going to charge Malcolm in front of everybody here that he's in charge of making sure that Philip gets up and achieves Eagle. And I know I just met Sam, but I'm sure I'm joined as fellow Eagle Scout Sam and Scott in doing that charge. Additionally, Cooper, you got great things to say up here. You've done great things in scouting. You are still charged with assisting Isaac and Simon on their scouting journey. With that, I'll pass it over to Scott. I'm sorry. We are going to give plaques to Leighton Brown and Grayson Douglas, and I think their parents are going to accept them. Oh, no, they're not.
So, thanks everyone. My name is Scott Douglas, and I'm fortunate enough to be both a parent of one of the Eagles up here, Malcolm, but also an Eagle Scout myself. You heard mentioned there's another generation of Eagle Scout over there as well, Sam Douglas. So first off, I'd like to call up, because we already have our Eagles up here, all the Life Scouts in the room who are still active Scouters. If we could get the Life Scouts to come up and take your place just right down here below us. Over here on the side, if you could. No, below us, sir. Thank you. Okay, the Life Scout is the rank just below Eagle Scout. So we're going to feather the Eagle's nest by having the Lifes here, right? And if I could ask all the other Eagle Scouts in the audience to please come forward, if you could. And the Eagle candidates too. And if those Eagle Scouts, particularly the adults, we have time, we know we have a buffet. If you want to come up and say your name, what troop you were from, and what year you got your Eagle Scout, that'd be amazing. I'll start off. My name is Scott Douglas. It was Troop 6 in Wilson, North Carolina, and it was 1987. Congratulations, Eagle Scouts.
Ben Davenport. I got my Eagle in 2016, Troop 1107, Alexandria, Virginia.
Joe Howard, Troop 1575, 1983, South Florida Council, Key West.
Ted Brady, 1984, the Daniel Boone District in Louisville, Kentucky, formerly Daniel Boone District, now is the Lincoln Country District, is what it is.
Barry Brown, Troop 362, Greenville, Texas, 1982.
My name is Aaron Mars. I earned my Eagle in 1990 at Troop 766 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Hawkeye Area Council.
My name is Alex Alonso. I got my Eagle in 1996 from the Troop 340 in the South Florida Council.
My name is Stephen Kolb, Troop 22, Crescent Bay Area Council of West Los Angeles area, 1963.
Hi, I'm Chase Hutto. I was in Troop 1131 in Dearborn, Michigan, part of the Detroit Area Council, and I got my Eagle in 1985.
Christopher Deggy, Troop 125, Rochester, Michigan, Clinton Valley Council, 1979.
Nick Migliaccio, Troop 214, Rockville Center, New York, in 1991.
Caleb Crowder, Troop 16 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in 2002.
Will Smith, Troop 500, Washington, D.C., 2022.
Frederick Robb, Troop 500, Washington, D.C., 2022.
Alistair McFarland, Valley Forge Council in Philadelphia, 1982.
William Dearlam, Troop 500, 2 weeks ago, 2023.
Awarding the Eagle is an important and serious matter. It's the climax and goal toward which Adam, Malcolm, Tyler, and Cooper have been working for several years. It's the culmination of the efforts of their parents and leaders. It is an occasion for pride and for joy, but it's also a time for serious contemplation. Eagle is the highest and most coveted award in all of Scouting. It is the last major step in the advancement program. In recognition of these obligations, I ask you to reaffirm or to affirm the first time your Eagle pledge, surrounded by these fellow Eagles and these Eagle candidates here. Please raise your hands, your right hands, as I recite it. I affirm my allegiance to the three promises of the Scout Oath: duty to God and country, duty to other people, and duty to self. I thoughtfully recognize and take upon myself the obligations and responsibilities of an Eagle Scout. On my honor, I will do my best to make my training an example, and my status and my influence count strongly for better scouting and for better citizenship in my troop, in my community, and in my contacts with other people. To this, I pledge my sacred honor. 2. If I could bring up Daniel for the closing remarks.
All right, thank you very much. Now I have a time to bring my own words in This is a very personal court of honor for me. All four of the Eagle Scouts awarded tonight are people that I've known throughout scouting. Two of them went to my same elementary school, and so I've known them for a really long time. I've gone on many campouts with them, high adventure. I was even fortunate enough to sleep in the same tent as Malcolm Douglas for 10 days at Philmont. So yeah, I've known them for a very long time, and on behalf of myself and all the scouts, I'd like to thank you guys for being an inspiration, both as scouts and as people. So thank you very much. Finally, what you guys have been waiting for, you guys are invited to remain for the reception for our new Eagle Scouts, Malcolm, Cooper, Tyler, and Adam. This Eagle Scout Court of Honor stands adjourned. I'd like to lastly invite the Reverend Kevin Van Diver back to the stage to give the benediction, as well as JoJo for the closing flag ceremony. You guys may be seated. Thank you very much. Oh.
What an awe-inspiring afternoon full of inspiration and hard work. I'd like to echo all the sentiments and congratulate all four of you for your tremendous work. It's just wonderful to be able to witness. And now let us pray. Dear God, an Eagle Scout Court of Honor marks the end of one journey and the commitment to another, a commitment to better scouting where all may participate, a commitment to better citizenship, and a commitment to be an example of leadership to all. Bless Adam, Cooper, Malcolm, and Tyler's future endeavors. Walk with them wherever their lives may take them and give them your strength, your compassion, your wisdom, and your love. And may all of us, we gathered here, be committed to scouting's ideals which instruct us to lead better lives. May we, like these new inductees, always follow our own trails, discovering who we are by striving into the unknown. May God be with us all until we meet again. Amen.
Okay. Color guard attention. Audience, please rise. Color guard, prepare to retire the colors. Scout salute. All those not in uniform, place their right hand over your heart. Color guard, retire the colors. Two. Audience, please join me in singing Scout Vespers and Taps printed in the back of your program right here. Softly falls the light of day while our camper is away. Silently each scout should ask, have I done my daily task? Have I kept my honor bright? Can I guiltless sleep tonight? Have I done and have I dared everything to be prepared? do our best each day as we travel on. Happiness we'll try to give, trying better what to give. Tell the world we join us, living peace and love. A day done, gone the sun, from lakes, from the hills, from the sky. All is well, safely rest, God mine. Thank you again for coming, and please join us for the reception.